Everyone,
Yes, please.
to today's alumni talk. And a number of you have registered to be alumni, to participate. We are still expecting a huge number, especially from both East Africa and Southern Africa areas, where we have also a huge number of ICLD alumni. We had also reported if your colleague may benefit from this, you could also ask them to join. Before we start, I'll ask Clara to make a quick welcome, and then after that, we proceed. Over to you, Clara.
Of course. So thank you everyone for joining and your warm welcome here. My name is Clara Ostadius. I'm the Alumni Manager and Research Officer at ICLD. And I will just start by saying that our alumni is our most important resource to reach wider and to reach further. You are all the ambassadors of good local democracy, of inclusion, and the powers of decentralization in protecting a democratic and rights-based society. So we are more than happy that you're here with us today, and we hope that many more will join as we progress today. We have this theory of change at ICLD that we believe that capacity building at the individual level will lead to organizational change. And eventually, as organizations learn and develop, it will be to the benefit of all people in society. But this is not always so easy to see in practice how this transformation is done. So we're super happy to have John and Eric take us through that today and how learnings and insights from trainings have actually led to organizational change and to societal impacts as a result of trainings and of insights with individual persons. We have these alumni talks every once in a while. All of you who are here, you're always welcome to reach out to us if you have ideas, either of topics that you would like to hear more about or that you would like to share. If you yourself want to host or to organize an alumni talk, you're always welcome to reach out to us with ideas. With that, I warmly hand over to John and to Eric for this wonderful 1.5 hours that we have in front of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Clara, for that clarity. And now from ICLD, now I can start sharing my screen. This is it.
It is already sharing, John.
Oh, okay. Now you can see.
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you, Clara, for that brief. As you know, most of us here, alumni, it means that you have attended an ICLD training, either a Boston partnership or an ITP or a short course or a certain training that ICLD has offered over the last number of years. I'm sure most of you have also attended other training courses from different organizations, not just ICLD. And there's always that question, after training, what next? What do you do with the training that you get? How do you integrate it in your office? There is no training that is individual. It is always supposed to give some effect in both yourself, the organization you work for, and ultimately in the society. Today's session is post-training steps. What is this we can do that will be different from what you've been doing before? What can we learn from Kiambu County that has attended a number of trainings, and they have decided that they are going to be inspired by these trainings and make deliberate efforts to do action. To start, let me tell you that ICLD Alumni Talks, as Clara said, we have them about twice a year, and the idea is to facilitate continuous learning as well as knowledge sharing. And also, we want to have a constructive dialogue, like the one we are having today. We have a constructive dialogue. We exchange experiences with peers. What have they been doing, especially those who are in local government or county governments, or those who are in civil society, or our elected leaders. Sometimes we learn from Uganda, we learn from South Africa, we learn from different peers. So this is one of the three main areas why we have these alumni talks, and we have had quite a number of them. If you need to know what you've done in the past, you can go log into ICLD Alumni Talks, and you'll be able to see all the videos and comments and also materials that you can be able to read. And then the other question comes, why do we go to training? What is the power behind that? Oh, sorry. What is the power behind why we train? At ICLD, we want to ignite growth. We want to do some action and make some change. We want to build skills, and we also want to drive impact. First is we want to inspire action. We always say that when you go into training, you always have that thing that sparks an idea. It tells you, wow, this training is getting into myself. I love it. We also build some motivation. And we want you as an individual, as the participant, to have to drive meaningful action. So the first thing is to inspire action. When you train, for example, recently in Kibaha, and we did an SDG training, some people were so passionate about going back to do something because they were inspired. The second is to stay updated. The toolkit was fairly new. It was undertaken by Kibaha and Gottrand. And we want you to learn what's going on. What are the practices? How can local governments utilize youth in high school or primary or young children to integrate to integrate SDGs in their activities? What are the plans? What is going on? ICLD works very closely with different institutions, different universities, different people, and they are always gathering enough data on what is emerging, and they want to share that with us as alumni. We also want you to strengthen your capacity. You are better equipped to serve the institutions that you work for and also in the communities. We understand that working in local government, for example, or working in the county governments or civil society, always is that demand to do better because your communities, your participants or your communities understand much more. So we need to strengthen your capacity to ensure that you understand, you become a better person to serve the institution. As well, we want to build networks. I know the team, for example, I've had a huge network of my team from East Africa, from Southern Africa, and every time I need something, I always ask them. I have colleagues in Zambia. Last week, we were talking about how to do better project management. These networks are very inspiring, and we want to know them. The other thing is this, when you talk about inspiration to action, what is that inspiration? Is that the spark of training? When you go to training, we hope you are going to be inspired. I remember Clara talking something about inspiration somewhere. We want you to be inspired so that you get to learn much more than we're just giving you. So because we have already, usually we have 2-3 days. So those 3 days, we hope will be sufficient enough to trigger some curiosity. We want you to explore new ideas and opportunities. What is this that we are doing? What is this can we do to inspire you? We also want to open your minds, open our minds, encourage fresh perspectives. One time I was in Uganda and Lumo Musa was there and Rogers and Ketty was there. And we asked some people, how many of you understand SDG? And I guess half the class did not understand SDGs. So we want to give those fresh perspectives. And by the end of the training, 2 days, I think also many people would understand what is an SDG is and how they relate to their work. We want to also drive motivation. We engage you, learn together, and also envision change. When we talk about, for example, localization of SDGs, we even envision how it is when all your plans, like in Kenya, CIDPs, that you always rate them with a certain SDG. For example, SDG number 11 is about sustainable communities. We also want you to lead and not to action, not just training, not just being inspired. Do something. Translate that inspiration to application. And we are going to read about that later as we progress. And again, you might be inspired, you might start something, but then how do you sustain momentum? We want to ensure that growth goes beyond the workshop. After the workshop, we have the good photos, we have networks, we're so excited, we have learned. When you go back to your workplace, what next? And that is why we say from workshop to action. Then we say what? We have dealt with two about the power why we train, the inspiration, the spark of that training, and now the action is usually the aging of change. When you have been trained, when you have been inspired, we hope that the aging now can start. The aging, you can start the aging. Training sparks the flame, like starting an engine. Action fuels that lasting impact. It is what you go and do at your workplace that means something different. We want you to apply the knowledge you have learned at your workplace. We want to have those sustained actions driving long-term change results or democratic results. Whichever you pick it, but you see that is something. And at the last, we say action drives lasting, sorry. The action, this my screen, I have to go, drives visible change. We want that action. We want that agent to start, the agent to act, to start. Immediately after workshop, you go and start that agent so that you are able to start moving towards whatever it is that you want to. Now, from inspiration, you can see is the network of activities on top there. This is an action model. The first is the training where you get inspired. The second one is personal reflection. What is this that I have learned as an individual? The third is how do I make commitments as an individual? And the third one is action. What do I going to act? And finally, so that you can get some impact. These four areas are just a summary of the many things that you can do. When you talk about reflection, is how am I going to, for example, you other people? From the inspiration which you have mentioned earlier to reflection, how does this new knowledge apply directly to myself, to my workplace, to my local government, or to my county government, or to my civil society? How does it apply? And when you're training, for example, when you see the agenda early, because I think Karala said that the agenda like a few days early, you'll be able to see the topics that we share. Say, this is what we believe the topics can be able to inspire you. And you can be able to relate many of them, say, this is actually very good for me. And you can actually straight away just even apply it. You can even imagine if you're going to apply it in your workplace. There's also the issue of individual commitment. What actions are you going to do after the training? Because we usually follow up and say, hey, how far, where can we, where can ICLD support you? What do you need? Do you need more resources? Do you need more training? We are always in touch. Is there something we can do behind the training? And then, when you talk about action, we don't want to go and do so many big actions. We want you to start small, baby steps, fast, tangible steps. And you're going to see them later on in a few other slides coming. Those small actions build crucial momentum. For example, training your colleagues is a step. Just sharing that knowledge is a step. Out of maybe 10 colleagues, 3, 4, 5 will be interested and they will join that momentum, that bus you have already started. And finally, we want to have impact. One of the projects that ICLD does, even the training, we want to make sure there's impact on the ground. Because we train you as an individual, as a theory of change, we train you as an individual with the hope that will create some meaningful change in your institutions, which ultimately creates some impact in the society. Let me see where are we now. And then we have talked about reflection. We had done about with inspiration. Let's go to reflection. This is an individual level. Pause at the meetings I usually see. What is this that resonates well with my work? For example, you hear from Alec, there's some things that they picked from this training that resonated so well with their workplaces. And they were able to internalize and do something, just whatever it is that they were able to do. Personalize this learning. It is me as an and then I am working for a county government all along. My connection is stable. I hope you can hear me. Then there's the personal goals. Define actionable steps. Remember we talked here, baby steps. Don't start big, baby steps. For a training to be impactful in your workplace, start like a baby. Start crawling, start stepping all the way to the day you're able to learn. Also identify who can you collaborate with. You cannot work alone. You have to work with your colleagues, maybe internal departments, another cross departments. And you learn from another slide here how you can do this, as well as how Kiambu County has been able to work with other departments. Also review progress. Every so often, just review progress. How far have I gone? From what you have decided to do, what you're doing, how far? And you work with your colleagues. Don't do it alone. Adapt is possible. Learn through practice. For example, if you're working with elected leaders, things keep changing quite often. So you need to go and keep updating them. Maximizing impact through teamwork. You remember we talked about working with your colleagues. From individual learning to collective growth. When you create training, because we are not able as to support so many people from your workplace, we usually pick someone who may be able, according to when we ask you to apply, we usually say motivate. And then do you have the capacity to initiate change office? And many of you who have participated in ICLD projects, we have been able to read your motivation, and all of you have said that you are able to initiate changes within your organizations. So when you will be able to change, one of the reasons that you can change better is working with your teams. So the first thing, the first thing of from individual learning to collective growth is that you strengthen the institutional capacity. You hear from us from Kiambu County how, for example, a recent SDG training in Kibaha has been trained, so many people have been trained, Some of the people he's working with were former teachers, so they understand this quickly and they want to pick it up. The second one, it fosters cross-departmental collaboration. When we talk about schools, Alex department, for example, does not work with schools directly, but there's another department in county that works with schools. So you bring them together. There are also other people, for example, solid waste management, maybe an SDG on solid waste management. A school might decide to do an SDG on solid waste management. So you also bring along a department that does solid waste management because they have the capacity, the knowledge, and probably the resources. The third one is it promotes accountability. When everybody knows and everybody is involved, everybody wants to know what's going on. You cannot hide. Everybody is, all the information is out there, either at the department level or at the county level, at the municipal level, at whatever level. There is always someone asking, how far are we going? And finally, it builds the culture of learning. If, for example, ICLD alumni at Kiabu County, every time they come from training, they come and train their other colleagues. Any other person who goes for another training, even if it's from World Bank, there is a culture that you must share the learning with us. So you create that culture of learning, share experiences and expertise. Sorry. There's also this, the chain reaction, that inspiration, there's something here. Sorry. The chain reaction, usually from inspiration to what we call democratic impact. If you know, I'm sure many of you understand what is ICLD core values. There's equity, there's participation, transparency, and accountability. Some of the projects that we have always done with you, we always say, does this thing have a democratic impact? Because we want to increase the number of people participating, the number of decision makers who are interacting with the communities. We always want to ensure that there's a democratic impact. So this chain reaction from training all the way to democratic impact, they are sequential. For you to be able to have a democratic impact, you must start from the inspiration. That spark that motivated you to go and do something. You must build skills for yourself and your colleagues. You must act, turning learning into real change. That is when you know now you're making deliberate efforts to have what we call a democratic impact at every stage. When you talk about inspiration, when you talk about training with your colleagues, when you talk about talking to the leadership, you are also igniting some democratic impact, so democratic change at every step. And finally, when you talk about democratic impact, you are strengthening participation and accountability. You're also strengthening equity. Some of the issues, for example, we are talking about with Kiabu and Murang'a and other counties, there is that issue of strengthening local democracy from what we are going to do. And I read that slide by saying every inspired participant, all alumni we have here, when we have equipped you as ICLD, when we have empowered you with all the skills and knowledge that we share with you, we are hoping that you are becoming a better driver of democratic progress in every step of the way. There is something I came across in another training. It's called the LEAP model, your pathway to post-training success. You can have a look at this in online later. It gives about 4 steps. The first is when you're doing the learning, actively gaining new knowledge and perspectives from training. And that is what we do as ICLD. We want you to gain new knowledge and perspective so that when you go back to your workplace, you are inspired by new ideas from your peers, from ICLD, from case studies. We have that. Number 2, you become engaged. You reflect deeply and personalize it, and then you can be able to share with your colleagues. Thirdly, you have to apply. Take deliberate, concrete actions and implement new strategies immediately. Don't take eternity because you're also going to forget something. And I see many people actually coding, taking notes. When you go back to the office, make another slide so that your colleagues can understand what it is that you're doing. They see the passion in you. You can actually share that passion with people. Then, as you said, you are going to start small. Monitor your results. Monitor slow. Don't start big because you go and ask for $1 million. Nobody is going to listen to you again. Start with leveraging what is going on within your department before you even engage the other departments. Review effectiveness. Are you doing it well? Are there some things that you can do as a team? Scale your impact for sustainable growth. Scaling up means, for example, you can work with other departments depending on what it is you're doing, what it is you learn in that area. If, for example, you talk about gender equality and you go back to your office and you find this, like in Kajiado, I hope Immaculate is here, in Kajiado where men say we are representing our wives and daughters, and you find you are dealing with cultural barriers or religious barriers, you have to find a way to navigate those kind of issues. And I know I'm almost to answer that I give. That, finally, on this note, finally, just towards the end, is embedding the training outcomes into your local government systems. Some of the things I've told you about inspiration, about personal reflection, about creating deliberate actions, you are working with teams, you must share with your local government systems. You cannot have a system that is parallel to others. You have to work with it. First, we talked about reflection and internalization, and I'm repeating this for purpose. Reflection and internalization is a deliberate sentence I'm repeating. I did in every slide because it starts with you. You might be inspired, then reflect, then internalize. Share that knowledge with your colleagues and link it to the local challenges, the local ones in your county or your municipality or your school, whatever institutions or area community that you work with. Align it with your policy. Review and update policies. Embed with new practices in standard operating practices for your task forces. I know I've worked with a task force here in Kiambu, in Kajiado, in Homa Bay. They usually start a task force that be able to create some meaningful avenues of integrating with the current processes or practices within that county. The other fifth one, pilot. Start with pilots. Learn from pilots. Refine as you progress and you scale up. Every time you come from a training, you learn so much. And sometimes I also learn a lot. When I come back to Kenya, I always say, I want to do something. And sometimes your mind tells you can do so big, but you can't be able to achieve starting big. Start small, walk those with your leagues, learn as you pilot, refine. Like you hear about SDG crabs in Kiabu, which probably were in Kibaha, I think 2 months ago. They are doing baby steps, and then you scale up. Deal with your leadership. Please let your leadership know what you're doing. After every training, make sure your boss is the one who approved your training. You make that will make it your first stop. Capacity building and knowledge. Train more staff. And by the way, when I mean train more staff, not all staff are able to capture or understand the training at the same level. Some staff require much more than just a 1, 2, 3 day workshop. Others require mentoring. Others require maybe just a day and they capture it. Others require a different kind of engagement. So when you talk about staff, training more staff, please make sure that not one training fits all. Be able to equity. Try and see who benefits from this kind of training and then the other one. Build peer circles. Once you're talking about, for example, like Eric, and I think he's going to tell you about this. When we talked about SDG in schools, some of the former teachers or principals were saying, can I be in this team because they understand how schools work. So I'm sure your colleagues can also probably have a different skills or expertise and they want to do that. Finally, monitor, and I'm repeating this, please monitor the steps that you take. Celebrate those small wins. Don't wait for the end of the year. That small win that you celebrate, please celebrate and then adjust for lasting impact. Overcoming these barriers. It sounded like it is a smooth sail. It is not. And I'm sure many of you who have also tried to implement have come through different barriers. I've just picked the 4 that I think they keep coming every time I'm having a conversation with many of you. First is resistance to change. It could be cultural, it could be religious, it could be political, it could be a colleague who thinks that you're gaining too much. Gain buy-in early. Very early. Try and navigate those through before due to steps. We can help you as ICLD. In case this one is a challenge, you can tell us, hey, I have this challenge, and we as ICLD can help you navigate this early buy-in. Engage staff. Make sure everybody is understanding what you're doing and what you're going through. The issue of resources is always a topic that we get. Prioritize actions and then it's called what? Leverage whatever is going on. If, for example, you have weekly meetings in your department, don't create a second one. Use the same one. Just have an agenda with it. Collaborate with the other departments, with partners outside here. Build local efforts. Local, when I mean local, is local efforts, either internally or even depending on the community, the CBOs. And again, I want to reiterate this. Please start small. The next one, which is a challenge, is competing priorities. Some of the departments or colleagues, they think that this is competing with another initiative or a strategic goal. Please align your things with whatever initiatives and strategic goals of your department or your county or local government. If you bring something completely new, they'll probably not be accepted. So those sparks, during the training, there is that spark, we say this spark carries you aha moment. Please just pick them together and say, this one I think can be accepted, this one can be accepted. And as you progress, you can now introduce newer initiatives or newer issues. Sometimes there's also loss of momentum from you or from your colleagues. One of the biggest challenges we understand about project failure is lack of communication. Lack of communication is one of the biggest key challenges I have learned in project management. Please communicate effectively and consistently. I said earlier, celebrate wins and create learning impressions. And one of the things I'm just coming towards the end is that all the issues that we have talked about relate to ICLD theory of change. Many of you, I'm sure, can remember this. When we train you as participants, now you are alumni in this room, the alumni in this room have been trained on an individual level. We hope that on the knowledge area, you have improved knowledge and skills from the training that we give you. We also hope that from that knowledge, you can be able to translate new insights into action. And then you'll have the ability to impact your very own organizations and communities. So from all the slides that I've said, it comes back to this summary, that you have skills, you have knowledge, you have capacity, and you have the impact to impact your own organization and communities. Once we talk about the organization, we go now to the organization. Because when we talk about the organization, we are talking about human beings, individuals who are in the organizations, that you're able to shift organizational values. From now, the training, the perspectives, the networks, you're able to shift organizational values. Maybe new frameworks, new policies, new way of doing things. And then the institution is able to translate goals and values into practice. Now you have what we call community of practice. You have trained people, you have collaborated with departments. Now you have that community of practice that is able to translate the goals and values into practice. And finally, on the organization, you institutionalize and formalize the new policies. You adopt, adapt, replicate. We always say, please, what can you replicate from a peer-to-peer learning, for example? There, you cannot replicate 100%. There are those areas that you are able to replicate. That's what we call an institutionalization or formation of new policies and practices. Sometimes you just adjust, add, review, or completely do a new thing like what Kajiado did some time back. And then we hope that from the individual level to organizational level, then in our society, that the shift in target perception. For example, you talk about solid waste management, issues to do with sorting waste at source. You have been trained about how to train them. The organization now have been able to do this. Then you go to the communities. They have the capacity to ability to incorporate new norms and practices. Let's just give that example. Sorting waste at source in our homes. That's something that they can be able to do. And then in fact, they have improved living conditions. For those who have not forgotten about ICLD theory of change, this is a summary of this. You can also find this at ICLD website. Please go there. There's little more information about this so that you understand how we link between individual, we link it to an organization, and we link it to society. And the slides have been giving you have all of those three. That at the individual level, we go for training to get that inspiration. From inspiration, you get that reflection. You want to reflect on what have I learned. Then you go to action. What is it I'm going to do at the individual level? And then you go to the end that you are going to create impact. So that you can have what we call democratic impact. And I think I'm almost towards the end. Sorry, not that one. Yes, so this is the last one. And you to know that all the ICLD alumni, you have been trained at the individual level. We have been able to share with you some knowledge with the hope that the knowledge that we have shared with you will translate into action, what we are now talking about. And finally, you are able to impact your own organizations and your community because you have new knowledge and new skills and you're able to translate. And you can do that in your organization and you can do that in your, so that you can have impact in our society. I will stop there, but I'll come back so that you can ask questions. So that we have stay on time, I want to introduce the next speaker. The next speaker is called, it's not to some of you, especially the people who are in Kibaha. He's called Eric Matata. Eric is an ICLD alumni. He participated in an ITP, Leadership in Local Governance. They are the guys who are affected by Corona. They had quite a lot of issues. but we had an opportunity to do virtually at a hotel in Nairobi called the 4 Points, while ICLD was facilitating with Madam Liende Ledain. Alec is the Director of Municipal Administration and Urban Planning at Kiambu County. Kiambu County is borders Nairobi and is actually the bedroom of Nairobi. Most of the people who reside here are actually from Nairobi. There is industrializing very fast. There is also getting the 6th city in Kenya called Thika City. Eric was one of the technical people who were in the Thika City ad hoc committee that was taking notes and going around Thika, asking people questions and also getting what we call citizen participation. Eric is also passionate about implementing projects that he has learned at ICLD, and I work with him quite often. They have 12 municipalities. I have had the honor of leading all the 12 municipalities, and Eric is the one in charge of the 12 municipalities, working with municipal managers. They are actually the highest number of municipalities in Kenya. They have 12, and they have a very active governor called Governor Wamatangi. Allow me to let Eric come in, and after Eric, we are free to ask questions. You can put them on the chat. I'll be checking with Karara. We'll be seeing them so that we are able to share with them, whether it's directed at me or directed at Eric, or you just want to share your own experience from what you hear from us. Eric, if you're ready, this is your time, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. Most of appreciation goes to also Madam Clara and the ICLD fraternity. And also, I will also want to say hi to my fellow alumni of ICLD. So this is the gentleman called Eric. So probably I'll love John maybe to allow me share the screen. Yeah, thank you. So as John has introduced me, I am the Director in charge of Municipal Administration and Urban Development in the great county of Kiambu. We have 47 counties under one nation called Kenya. And my county is very near to Nairobi, about the Nairobi city, about 15 kilometers from the city. And so I'm also, my training is I'm an urban and regional planning trained my undergraduate at those people from Uganda. I school from the Makerere University. So I'm your cousins, the people from Uganda. And so I brought the knowledge back home. So you realize that we have quite a lot challenges of urbanization in Kiambu, as Mr. John has said, being the bedroom of Nairobi. So we are experiencing a lot. Urbanization is immense. I am hosting close to 4 million people in Kiambu. Kiambu is vast. And so a lot of challenges: water, sanitation, housing, environmental and climate change, stormwater drainage, transportation. So you can talk about any urban planning challenge or any urban planning need we are experiencing every day. So I'm in charge of 12 municipalities, and all these municipalities have a municipal manager who are in charge, and every municipality has a municipal board, which is a semi-autonomous board operating directly one-on-one with the local government. For us, initially we were calling them local government, but for us we are calling them municipalities. So I wanted to ask maybe to share whatever maybe the inspiration stories that the team that has benefited from ICLD have brought back and implemented in this great county. So without much further ado, I wanted us to first to get to know where we came from. And so as the county, we have a policy of external trainings. And these policies we based mainly on the theory of change from ICLD. However, we only added one item, because we are looking at, when you go for external trainings, what are we gaining from an individual point of view, from an institutional point of view, and then two, the residents that we are serving, that we are doing one-on-one daily operations too. But however, we added something in between: peer learning potential. How do we influence whatever we have learned, and how do we bring people on board to benefit from whatever we have learned from the ICLD? So number one, on the training, we usually ensure that before going to the training must have a relevance to somebody's life. in terms of your job description and job responsibilities. And so that has been one of our main killer as we plan for the external trainings. Number 2 is the departmental application. Now, as you go and train and come back, do you come back and sit and relax? Did you go back just to enjoy the flights, go to enjoy staying in good hotels? No, no, no. So what do you bring back to the department? What are the additional values, core values that you bring to the department in terms of goals and function? And then number 3, the issues of interdepartmental growth. How do we help each other in terms of cutting across? Because my department is sensitive. The lands department is a multidisciplinary department. As you work in the lands department, you can't work without an engineer. You can't work without an environmentalist. You can't work without a social safeguards person. You cannot work without a the elected leaders. You cannot work without an economist. You can't work without a finance guy. So this is a multidisciplinary department that you need to work with them closely. So when you go to the training, what good do we bring to ensure that all of us benefit? And then lastly, contribution to service improvement. So when I come back, what additional value do I expose or do I maybe bring on board to the people that I serve, the residents of the great Republic of Kiambu municipality? And so we have been having several trainings and several results as a result of the training. Number 1, in terms of technical professional development. So we go, at times maybe we go for workshops to learn 1 or 2, 3, 4 things. We are trained on 1, 2, 3. Like just previously in the month of May, we were at Kibaha in Tanzania on a workshop. We learned quite a lot on establishment of SDGs. And as I was telling Clara that another time is, when I came back to the management team, and I was really shocked when I was maybe presenting to my core management team and my governor himself. And I asked these guys, how many of you knows the number of SDGs that we have in the world? I was really shocked that even those people who have even PhDs cannot even comprehend in terms of SDGs. So we also, in terms of professional development, issues of conferences and certificate programs, because we have some of my alumni, some of my colleagues who have gone for ICLD and came back with certificate programs which have really empowered themselves. Like now my immediate boss is an ICLD alumni whom the certificate actually made him to be the one in charge and the principal secretary, the chief officer of lands. Number 2, issues of policy, governance, and leadership from recognized institutions. We also look at the sector specific in terms of international, regional capacity building events and approved management. So when we go, not only learning, we also take this as a platform to interact internally, regionally, because within WhatsApp or within a click of a phone, I can call my friend in Zambia. I can call my friend in South Africa. I can even send emails to Stockholm and Sweden and the like. So these are some of the best training platforms that we have been able to acquire as in Kiambu. And we appreciate, apart from ICLD, we appreciate because we have had quite a number of external trainings whereby we have gone. Others have also come to our place. For example, that is the ICLD. We have learned quite a lot, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We have also benefited a lot from World Bank training programs, UN Habitat, because you realize that my department closely deals with SDG number 11, sustainable community and cities. So some of these great participants and great partners are UN Habitat, World Bank, AFD. This is the AFD Bank, Cedar Bank, and so many people who have come in terms of infrastructural development, giving us grants for infrastructural development, as I'm going to explain in my presentation. So this is just a summary. When you go for this training, this is what we have been able, as the ICLD participant in Kiambu, to figure out whatever we have been able to get to. Like, for example, when we come back, immediately you come back from an ICLD training, like the one I was in Kibaha, from the right you can see, I am there with the top county officials. These are the top managers. You are talking of the Minister for Lands, the PS for Lands, the chairman of the elected leaders of the Planning and Urbanization Committee. So the photo at my right is immediately when we came back from Kibaha. So number one, when we go for these trainings, we usually, number one, update our team on the training goals and content outcome. We went to Kibaha to learn 1 or 2, 3 SDG goals. How are they localized the SDGs? So we come back with what we usually call BOT, back to office report. So immediately we come back, we first of all, we single it down to the management because we need the political goodwill, and we also need these people to run with it. And after running with it, then when we come into budgetary factoring and everything, they are able to listen to us and also action as is supposed to be. Number two, we're supposed to give key highlights and insight. Are there tools that we have learned? What are the skills that we have gained? And when we come on board, are these skills locally workable? They have worked in some areas. Are they locally workable in our place? So that is also number two. And then number three, application to work, because we need to showcase how these new skills will improve our day-to-day running. I usually run a lot of projects because municipal administration, this is whereby we receive a lot of donations and a lot of donations from World Bank and the many key players. So you need to show that these new skills, when embedded in our day-to-day life, they are going to operate and we're going to have effective service delivery to people. And then once we apply, what are our recommendations? Because we need to propose actionable action points or changes to benefit the department as a department as a whole. And not only a department, but the municipality, because there is the department that I have, and also now the municipality that is under the municipal board, and the entire institution as the county government. So what are the proposed action? What is actionable? What can be done? What are the changes that we expect to learn from the trainings that we've got? And then number 5, of course, you realize there is nothing that can happen just freely. There is a cost for everything. Even Jesus himself paid a price on the cross so that we enjoy whatever we are enjoying today. So you have to list any support that is needed for implementation. And support can be monetary, can be voluntary, can be any form of support, can be even a physical support from a neighboring department or from a sister department. And so there is also another element. From one learner to many change makers. That has been our mantra, because spreading the knowledge that we have learned from ICLD for positive collective growth. Because every time, as I have said, we usually conduct a brief session. Once we come back, we hold a brief session to share key lessons and tools from the trainings. The top photo is myself presenting to the county governor and the main board of the county. That is the ministers and the PSs, trying to borrow them, trying to, quote unquote, to seduce their egos and seduce their minds to come into power on matters that we have learned and to action them in our county integrated development plan or in our annual development plans in the budgeting cycle to ensure that we get enough facilitation and engaged support. Number 2, we also highlighting the practical application. As I said, when we come back, we have to discuss how the training tools must apply to our current work. Change is inevitable. And so we should be able to ensure that we inculcate that notion into their system, and so that they borrow whatever we've come back with. A very important issue is the cross-departmental sharing, because you realize that we need to work as a team. The way our body works, the eye cannot operate without the legs cannot. So we have to have this conjoint cooperation with the departments for us to achieve more. I myself cannot achieve, but with the help of others, while I get the support from the various departments, environment, the climate change department, the legal department, because some of the things that you come to do, they are multidisciplinary. And then you have to encourage the peer dialogue. Also get feedback from them, and also have a brainstorming on applying insights, whatever can work and whatever cannot work in our space. And then submit a summary report. And as I said, normally when we come back as ICD alumni in Kiambu County, we usually do a back to office report. We bind it so well, we present to it, and then we present it to the county governor for concurrence, and also in terms of any key outcomes or recommendation to the management. At times, I remember when we came from Kibaha, one of my minister is a former principal, and a former principal in a high top school in Kenya. And so I remember when I presented, she was one of my supporters. I, Erica, will ensure that I link with my fellow principals to ensure that these things work. I personally, as an urbanist, I can't manage to get into the principals. But you realize that I had one alumni, former principal who was able to bring the core teachers assist me in localizing the SDG in our various schools. And so I wanted us just to dive into the specific, the training, I'm calling them the training specific milestone, the learning that transforms. What have we learned from ICLD, from other benchmarking municipalities that we have been able to localize it and worked in our place and worked super awesome? And I would like us to, first of all, to start with one, and that is the safety audit. Many thanks to ICLD for coming through to us. We did, from my left photo, we did a Thika Town safety audit with the Flown initiative. This was done in the year 2023, whereby we went to the people of Thika. And as John said, that Thika is one of my 12 municipalities that we are conferring city status, because according to our Urban Areas and Cities Act, it has all the criteria that is supposed to, it has met all the criteria for an area to be confirmed city status. I was the technical team leader in that ad hoc committee, and the report is at the Senate. Anytime from now, the president will be conferring Thika as the 6th city in Kenya. And so we went to Thika, and we were asking people, what are your perceptions as residents? Do you think the streets of Thika are safety, secure? Are they aesthetics? Is this a place that you will, as a resident of city, be proud of in terms of cleanness, convenience, and safety? And we had various participants. Of course, we had the county government of Kiambu, and we drew some participants from the Thika business community. This is the business community, the people who own the biggest industry. At some point, Thika was called the Birmingham of Africa. And so we have very big investors in Delmont, both foreign and international. We also wanted a feeling of the cyclists. Is the urban area of Thika or the town safe for cycling? We also had the Boda Boda Association. So Boda Boda is the motorbikes. Maybe for other our friends in Europe, Boda Boda are the motorbikes, which is a menace in Africa. Go to Uganda, Kampala, where I studied from, is a menace. Go to Tanzania, where I was, is a menace, Boda Boda and the like. And also we have the public service vehicle owners. So we had to bring them on board to give us an expression, to hear from them. What is their view? What do they feel? Is our city to be safe in terms of mobility and the like? And also a group that we forget every time, mainly as planners as we plan, is a group of the PWDs, the people living with disability. And so we had all these people. Whatever we were doing was legislative authority. We had the legislative authority, whereby we have to ensure sustainable urbanism in terms, even as we refer to SDG number 11. And the Constitution of Kenya gives the mandate that we should provide for safe environments. The Urban Areas and Cities Act in Kenya gives us the mandate as the municipality in the town. We need to plan for our towns to be well motorable to everyone, to the motorists and the non-motorists. And so, very fast, safety, the challenges that we found are PWDs were unable to access some of the streets because of the stairs and the like. And very fast, the takeaway points were, number one, we have traffic enforcement officer controlling the traffics to ensure that we minimize traffic control. Surveillance of cameras due to insecurities, we did that. Municipality departments, my department, to cater for streets that are PWD friendly, and then engage stakeholder regularly for input in terms of stakeholder engagement. And number one, this is a change. The photo on the left, the streets that were before. You can see the confusion, the hawkers, everyone on board. The street on the right is the game changer that we have done. So we have, this is an NMT We can see people with motor. This is more, we converted this street to be a purely a non-motorized place for people, for safety of our people, compared to the left photo. Very fast. After that, my department went to another 3 municipalities, and we began a change project called landscaping and beautification projects under the Kenya Urban Support Program, that is World Bank. You can see some ladies there chatting, relaxing, enjoying their space, enjoying their. This is in an urban area. You realize that they are more comfortable enjoying more than even being in their estate. But this is the town. On the down photo, this is a beautification park where people go to release stress and everything over the weekend on the top photo. And this is the fruits of the safety audits that we happen in Thika. This is also another municipality that we did safety audit, that is Kikuyu, whereby we separated the traffic, whereby we have the cycle lanes, we have where the people are walking, and then we have the cabs. And for safety of the people, we put on bollards. Bollards are this small post. Urban beauty, you can imagine also just behind the second photo, behind is the municipality office. People used to have a lot of stress. And in terms of health management and everything, we converted this open space into rehabilitable place where people can come out of the office, relax, enjoy, have a chat over the lunch, and go back to the office, courtesy of the ICLD safety audit in Thika. Immediately after that, my sister department in environment borrowed the leaf from what we did. They borrowed the same idea, whatever we did, the stakeholder engagement that we did, and went ahead to do a Kenya County Climate Risk Profile in Kiambu. This is a sister department in the environment, whereby we work closely with them, we assist them, and we are able to do a county climate audit risk profile for the entire county in terms of rains. We were able to map out the flood-prone areas in the county for the betterment of our place in partnership with the World Bank. Another important tool is the stakeholder engagement toolkit that we have learned from ICLD. And as I said, the main idea of the training is to come back with something actionable on ground. So very fast, because of time, number one, we have identified quick wins method that we have been able to use to lure in and ensure that we ensure seamless stakeholder engagement in the county. Number one is open space. This is whereby we have been giving people a clear window of conversation flow, whereby you let people speak out, let people talk. Community grows due to constant flow of information. And with this, you can ensure we have been able to do this in quite a number of events. When we are doing our budgetary processes, we have been able to bring people for open spaces, mobile open air consultation on the land clinics that we have been doing in the various municipalities, youth empowerment and innovation hubs. We have been able to bring youths together in this open space and learned quite a lot. We have also been able on public dialogue sessions, maybe a particular bill, a finance bill and the like, we have been able to bring people on a open space and got a lot of information. What do you achieve when you bring people to express their views? One, encourages the bottom-up participation. Everyone feels the right of participation, build consensus amongst ourselves, and covers hidden expertise, because we have expertise. Never underestimate the powers of the residents. They know quite a lot. And then support rapid prioritization in the various processes that we have been able to do. FGDs, focus group discussion. From ICLD, we have been able to know, like for example, this is the Thika Industrial Smart City Technical Committee where I was chairing. You bring you bring people with from various backgrounds. Here I have engineers, environmentalists, lawyers to chart the way forward. And a good FGD is made of 6 to 12 people from the training that we were able to learn. And from this, we have been able to come up with so many, because the Thika Smart City technical team has been able to charter, because we're in the process of chartering, community service delivery feedbacks. This is community health workers and the like. Gender mainstreaming in the county planning. So we have been using the FGDs. Youth empowerment programs, FGDs work super good. Issues of stormwater and solid waste management, public participatory policy development, and not to forget about identifying the flood-prone areas. That is the disaster risk management. When you work in these small groups, one, it enables people to open inclusive, and we have an inclusive dialogue. Number two, you are able to capture diverse views and in-depth community insights. you're able to get into deeper details, deep down, because these are intellectuals. These are well-trained people. Focus qualitative input for better policies in the future. Amplify voices of the marginalized. There are some people who cannot talk on large crowd. Put them in a small crowd, they do wonders. Build trust through respect and engagement. Another key stakeholder engagement tool is the hearing. Here, this is the Thika Industrial Smart City, whereby we had that, we had an ad hoc committee, we are city ready for conformment. And so we have been able to do hearings during budgeting, during the land use zoning, because you have to hear, no, remove this place to be high density, this place needs to be low density. This place should be industrial, this place should, so you have the environmental impact also, hearings, policy legislation with the county assembly, disaster preparedness, we have been able to use hearings in Kiambu. When you do hearings, then we have been able to ensure and brought a lot of transparency with the people, because whatever you say, whatever we agree is what we implement. Number two, allow diverse voices to be heard. Various minds coming together and actioning and coming into a consensus. Building community ownership of decision. So you make decision as a community and not as a technical team. So this has really assisted us. We have had zero backlashes in terms of legislative issues. We are not been having cases of people rushing to court, because we have been able to do ownership decision making and then fulfill the legal requirement. Number three is the CBPR, community leading the way. CBPR, community-based participatory research. For example, here you can see myself, here we are doing issues of double allocation of land. You listen and hear from them, and then you come up with informative participatory approach of making decisions. We have used this method in disaster risk mapping, whereby we have been able to map the disaster-prone areas. Environmental monitoring, EIS, preparation of EIA, preparation of environmental social management plans. We've been able to do this. Informal settlement upgrading. I have had a lot of support from the national and the donors on improvement of our informal settlement in terms of infrastructure, both physical and social infrastructure, health outbreaks in the informal settlements. And so when you do the CBPR, you empower the community to be active participants in your decision making. You build trust and ownership between departments and the communities. You provide content-specific, accurate data, because you provide this accurate data. You have even the technical team, the technical expertise, the statisticians who are there. And then there is strength and relevancy and sustainability. Another tool that is very important that we have been able even to actualize in Kiambu is the citizen scorecard. And I remember this one, we brought John on board. I had a lot of issues in one of the market in Ruiru in terms of health issues. We had a lot of health-related outbreak diseases. And so I called John to come on board, and we were able to do a mock scorecard on what can work and what cannot work in the local market in one of the municipality. So we introduced the toolkit into the leaders and the colleagues as usual. We went to the governor, explained to the Department of Environment, with the minister, and he really borrowed the idea. Then we shared the practical example where it has worked and where it has not worked. So we did the mock, the mock session. And most of the people are doing the same. In the hospital, I saw them borrowing the same tactics of the citizen scorecard. And when we do the citizen scorecard, one, it will improve the service delivery. Service delivery will be inevitable. Everyone will be thrashing and thriving to give the best. Empower the citizens to hold government accountable. You'll never run as a government. So you have to be on toes, because the citizens are on your case. This is what we agreed at the scorecard. No minimum, no less, no more, no less. So this one, you have to get it. Promote transparency and accountability, and then evidence-based planning. This is what we agreed. Hi, this is the game. So no less, no more. Regular performance tracking, because you have to track your performance as per the scorecard that you agreed. So we have done this in the health services, as I said, the water and sanitation department, environmental health, and the education health, in the educational field, the waste management performance, we also did that. Local revenue, that has really assisted me on the improvement of the local revenue, on-cost revenue for the various departments. So we have adopted this, and we have dubbed it as the citizen fora. So as we are calling them the citizen fora cards or the citizen assembly card in all the 12 municipalities in Kiambu. So we also had a team of my colleagues, my boss, who is also went to, they participated in the diploma in human rights and gender equality in climate displacement. So they went to Land University, they came back with this awesome, magnificent certificate, but not only certificate for themselves, After getting the certificate, they came back, explained to the team, they brought us on board, the boards, the municipality, and I, the in charge of the municipality department, and we agreed we have to do something because we are prone. Like last year, we had disasters in Kiambu, whereby we experienced a lot of flooding due to lack of stormwater drainage in our main roads. We build roads, we don't have stormwater drainages to direct the waters into the water catchment area, into the waterfalls. And so this was the takeaway from the climate the climate displacement teaching. From the right, you can see that is the book that was authored by my ICLD alumni in the department. Number one, effective planning for stormwater drainages in our urban areas. And in Thika, this is what we do, the photo here. After that, we came, because we have the budget, we have the municipality, so we appropriated our budget for to ensure that we don't have that manner. So you can see that we have the road, that is the carriageway, we call that the carriageway, the tarmac road. And then on the left, we have the stormwater drain, which was not there. And then on the right, we have the NMT, whereby people can walk, jog, and cycle on the right. So this is one of the action points from the diploma that these people went to study in. So this is one of the projects that we implemented, and we dubbed it the Climate Displacement Project in Thika. SDG clubs in municipality and schools. So we went to Kibaha in the month of May. We learned quite a lot from Kibaha and our colleagues. So when we came back, I shared as normal with the leadership and the new engagement and partnership. And because now SDG tools, how do you localize the SDG in our small kids in the schools? And then conducted internal trainings for my colleagues as usual. So went for the, as I told you, I have one of the former principals who is the minister for administration and public, she has been really assisting me. And then we started the dialogue, the talk that led to the creation of the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. Immediately after that, now, how do my department now interact with the national government and the like? And so we had, through His Excellency, we were able now to come out with an Office of the Intergovernmental Affairs, whereby he's the link between the local government, the national, and the other departments. I also shared the SDG materials, and we were able to track. Actually, we saw about 20 schools, but now I have so many. I have about 100 actually overstretched. Everyone wants to start this. But as John said, we have to start small and then expand outwards. Immediately, we invited John, as usual, because John has been so imperative and so of help in my department. He has trained on governance and so many in the boards. So I invited him to also train so that they also understand better on the world's experiences, the regional experiences, and the local. And then we have been able to establish 4 pilot schools, as 4 pilots to start with in Thika. And so after that, immediately we have been able to establish 2 learning centers in partners in schools, one in primary and one in secondary. Primary is the lower region and secondary the high schoolers. And then we have been able to do capacity building for 2 schools. The reason as to why we started these 2 schools is to ensure that they serve as benchmarking zones and the mentorship zones and hubs where other schools can come and learn more on these practices of SDG. Number 2, we have been also able to promote peer-to-peer learning among teachers. So as I told you earlier, I have one of the cabinet ministers who was a former principal. So through her caucus, John were able to go and train the head of the principals who have really bought this idea, and we are really grateful to them. Establish goodwill with the county leadership. Number 1, every time we come back, number 1, planning and politics is inseparable. When you separate these, you are gone. So once we come back, we usually ensure that you have the goodwill from the county leadership. Peer monitoring, active teacher, then we also encouraging peer-to-peer learning between teachers. Collaborations, so you have been able to achieve this collaboration, the school ties between the local organization, county government, the community-based organization, the faith-based organization. They have been able to come hand in hand, as you're going to see in the other slide. Student-led conversation, this has really sparked a lot of energy in Kiambu. Everywhere you go, to every school you go, they ask you, are you in the SDG club? Are you in the SDG club? To some point, I was called in another school and I was told, you guys, you brought a lot of menace. People are walking out of science club to the SDG, but I told them the science club is part of SDG. SDG is also a science, and in innovation, everything, no poverty, no nothing, all those are SDG. Student-led conversation, so that is very true. Growing engagement. So this is what I've been able to see. Students and teachers driving SDG club. Momentum. Actually, it is exploring more than I anticipated and I expected. This is an evidence. This is a photo. We visited. This is a school that we do one of the awareness. That is John and one of our partners. And you can see that is the head teacher really smiling. You can see the kids there. We were from just explaining how the SDG works and everything in Thika municipality. Number two, we are also being able through partnerships, through community, through partnership with in the CBOs, the community-based organization, faith-based organization. You can imagine from May and today we are in we are just nearly barely 2 to 3 months. We have been able to get partnerships whereby we have gotten free seedlings, young boys and girls enjoying. They have started taking this thing to the next level. So what are the takeaways from our place? Shared knowledge widely with the leadership, number one. That is our mantra. When you come back, share, information sharing. People perish because of lack of knowledge. The Bible says so. So when you come back, we ensure that the leadership knows what we are doing. Building internally capacity amongst our department, amongst my colleagues. For example, I have valuers, I have engineers. Let them know and take this to be part and parcel of their day-to-day engagement. New partnership and intergovernmental collaboration everywhere I go. When I go to the World Bank for infrastructure development, I usually intertwine and involve my issues into them. And with this, I've been able to get a lot of partnership. Localize the SDG through targeted school engagement, so that was done. We have empowered 20 schools with the SDG training, 4 established as pilot learning centers. And one thing, as you'll come to see at my end of presentation, you don't need budgets of hundreds and thousands of millions or something. Once you get an opportunity as a worker, as staff in the local government, maybe you are presenting something on budget, something you get your time, only 5 minutes for you to explain something like SDG. That is what I've been able to do. And to some point, people have been calling me the SDG president in Kiambu County, and I don't care about that. I'm really grateful to be the SDG president in our county. Sustain momentum through continuous peers. So that is something that has been inevitable. However, challenges are inevitable. Number one, as we've said, limited resources, lack of sufficient funding and staff. There is a lot of expectation. Like when I was introducing this to some of the teachers, they had this great mind from they had this anticipation. This is money from donors and everything. I was telling, no. Let's first deal with this, and then maybe some things will come back later, as we saw in Kibaha. Resistance to change. Change is inevitable, and every time when you bring something, like I told you, some science club teachers were thinking that I'm brainwashing and doing away with their clubs, competing priorities very fast. Policy or bureaucratic barriers. You know, in Kenya, we have a lot of structural lengthy processes in decision-making, capacity gaps. That is inevitable. Community engagement challenges. And these are some of the challenges. I'm heading to the end of financial year on Monday. So I'm supposed to do a lot of supplementary budget. And also the next term that is coming in Kenya, we are anticipating because of the exams at the end of the year, that will also be a challenge into my place. Very fast, competing before complete training before school closure. So that is what I'm leveraging on. I'm also leveraging on the long holiday. So I'm working with the SDG patrons so that we support the peoples now before they break. Strengthen the partnership, as I told you, through the intergovernmental office. Document and share success stories. That is what I've been able to capture and share outcomes to build institutional learning. Plan for expansion. I'm preparing on a large scale in the upcoming financial year, whereby I've put enough money in the budget to cater for that, and seek additional support from every corner. So, building confidence and capacity, staff apply for new skills. That is very true. So these are the lessons that we've learned, that you need to build confidence and capacity, encourage internal buy-in, because without each and every person, you cannot manage. Strengthen leadership support, clear result, demonstrate the value of investing in training, increasing community trust. Whatever you do, ensure that you get the full support and trust of the community. And then we're also talking about driving sustainable change. Change is inevitable, and so beyond learning into real, ensure the thing come into real. My governor tells me, I don't want to hear a lot of stories. Let's do this thing practically. Creates a ripple effect. Once you do, when you start small, you end big. Improve service delivery. We have seen this. Strengthen accountability, build public trust, empowers local staff and leaders, drive sustainable impact by embedding learning into day-to-day. Sustainable impact, whatever we do in the municipality, we say sustainable, sustainable, sustainable. So it has to be long-term change. And to that, as I close, I want to give you a mantra in Kiambu that real change begins when learning becomes action, transforming knowledge into results, people into champions, and challenges into new possibility. Regardless, whatever you learn, regardless if you have a PhD or whatever you learn must come into action for people to appreciate, understand, and to give you the possible support. So I really thank ICLD, Clara, Madam Clara, and Mr. John for that opportunity. Thank you so much, team.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Eric. That was very good. And I can see we are running short of time, so I would like to open this floor. I think that was very good, Eric. Thank you so much for that extremely elaborate presentation. Now this floor is open to anyone who would like to ask questions, clarifications, or share your experiences post-training that for the next 20 minutes, I think we have here about 26 minutes. The floor is open. You can put or you can moving. Where is Rumu? Rumu had said he wanted to share something. Rumu Musa, where you had something to update. Gone. Okay. As you wait for anyone, thank you so much. What you have seen from Eric, he just picked a number of activities that they have picked from your. Yes, Judith, yes, please continue, Judith. Judith, seen your hand, so continue.
Good day to you. I don't know what time it is in Nairobi. I'm connecting from Zambia, Lusaka.
It's 4:15.
Okay, am I audible? You
Yes,
can hear me
well.
clearly?
Continue. Yes, you can hear
Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this experience about Kiambu County. I have connected with colleagues from Kiambu on another ICLD initiative. Quickly, my interventions, I wanted to just find out, have you assessed the repercussion of this contribution that you've made, the change, have you replicated this change initiative in any other place? That's number one. Number two, what are the lessons that you have learned as implementers yourselves from this experience of this change program? And what are the sustainability plans that you have put in place for it not to die, for these initiatives not to die? Thank you so much. I submit.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other one quick one so that Eric and I can answer? You can lift your hand. On behalf of ICLD, when we trained, I know there are a number of initiatives that are going on from different training or different cohorts. I know there's something that happened in Kibaha, there's something happening in the Moranga, in the Kajiado, in Homa Bay, in a number of local governments where we have been able to share knowledge with the participants from those areas. So I know we have quite a number of initiatives going. We only picked Kiambu as one of the case studies, but I'm sure there is also a number of initiatives that I could hear from other participants, including, for example, Gigi, they have done a very good toolkit. And also, what is it? The other Kibaha, this one in South Africa. Alec, before we go to Alec, let's see Christine. Christine, that's over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that presentation from Kiambu. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, yes. So it was very interesting. I think we have really tried to do or to replicate what we have learned, but what is missing is documentation. It's just a comment I'm giving. It's important to document because at times we do things, but we don't document. So what we have achieved or what we have learned in during the sessions that we have participated in, it seems as if we have not, learned anything or we have not done anything, but it's very key to document so that we can always be able to follow up and know how far we have moved and what is missing, and also peer-to-peer learning from other cities that have participated. For example, in Uganda, we can maybe learn from Arua, from Kasese, and other local governments that have participated. That's what I wanted to comment on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. And you're right, before I give it to Eric, it's free. One of the leads we actually encourage as ICLD, and I think Cora mentioned it, I think some time back, is that we encourage even in-country exchange of peer-to-peer learning. For example, Uganda, you can create your own alumni event, between yourself. For example, as you say, Ginger can go to Arua, Arua can go to Soloti. You are free to create some peer-to-peer learning within your own countries. You can inform us if you're able to come, we can, but we encourage you to do that. And also the issue of dissemination, by the way, is very nice. For us to disseminate, we need to document. And we usually ask if we have challenges, for example, in documenting some of these case studies, you can be able to ask ICLD. We could be able to share some ways or how you can do it, some templates or some examples, or link you up with the people who have done it so that you can learn from them. So for those who have done something meaningful, like Christine has mentioned in Ginger, please feel free to reach out to either Clara or myself so that we can be able to share something. Clara, maybe you could say something quickly about documentation for dissemination before I call Alec.
Sure, thank you very much. You're right that documentation is extremely important for spreading and dissemination of good results. And we do have some different formats of publications that we can help with from ICLD side. Those are quite narrow in the way that they are structured and the content that goes into them. However, if you have the possibility to put in a draft of a policy brief based on the results that you have, or a toolbox that can help other local governments and other alumni recreate the same thing, or put in a type of case study. We can have another session on what a learning case is, but I do advise you to read on our website different learning cases as a workshop material to convey a message or how to utilize local democracy principles to incorporate in governance. Otherwise, if it does not fit into the ICLD formats of our publications, we still can receive drafts of types of communication material that you can use. We can feedback them. Maybe we can help lay out them, even if sometimes we can also publish from ICLD side, but not always. What we can not help with usually is creating the drafts. That needs to come from you, because we unfortunately do not have the resources to go to your municipalities and do all the fact finding and figuring out how to formulate things. So we need to receive the drafts from you yourselves, and then we can proceed with formatting and so on, and have some feedback rounds. But even if it is about telling us about best practices that have happened, or stories of progress, it is always worth letting us know about it, and we can investigate together how we can cascade the knowledge and what forums are available to us to disseminate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Clara. Please, if do you have, I'm sure many of you have milestones. Ginger has documented a number of things. I know some of you are doing something. Please let us know what you're doing. As Clara says, it has to come from you. You're the one who is doing it. You're the one who knows what you've done. You're the one who can be able to share some milestones. We want to hear from you as well. We want to hear what Alec has mentioned about documenting different outcomes from different training programs. So we want to hear from you. For example, you attended stakeholder engagement, and how did it work? How did you employ it in your own home? What are the challenges? What are the successes? Share with us, and those are the lessons that we want to learn from you. Allow Eric to respond to the issue of sustainability from Judith from Zambia.
Thank you, Tim. So very fast, I'll be able to respond to the two participants. Thank you so much, Judy from Zambia. That is very true. Number one, are we able to replicate, maybe have a change initiative in another place? Yeah, that is very true, because we have whatever we do in one. I told you I am in charge of 12 municipalities. And it is usually my prayer that whatever I do and succeed in one municipality should be a replica in the other municipalities. And actually, I usually encompass, and I usually in my day-to-day running of municipalities, I usually have a lot of challenge to, managing and balancing the 12 managers. Because one manager at times can tell me, why is this one doing so and so? He's so good in this and the other one is not so good in this. So we have been able to replicate the good stories like in safety audits that we did in Thika. We have been able to replicate in 6 municipalities, and I'm in the process of replicating in the other municipalities. Climate adaptation, infrastructure, whatever we did as in safety audit in Thika, I've been able to replicate in the other 6, and I'm also putting my best foot forward to ensure that I replicate in the other municipality. There is a lot of political pressure because they usually tell me in the assembly, if you've been able to do this, why is this not happening in other places? So replication is inevitable. Number 2, so you have also talked about sustainability. Like for example, in the SDG clubs, I know I'm not going to be there. Today I might be here and tomorrow maybe I'll be the Minister for Lands and I'll not be in Kiambu. So what will happen? So we have been able to ensure that my big role of oversight is being done by the SDG patrons. For example, in the various schools, I have the SDG patrons who have taken these things, spearheaded it, and they are running with it. My work is just an oversight. So sustainability is very key, because without sustainability, it means that maybe when somebody is not there by natural attrition or any other factor, the thing stops. So we are putting our best foot forward to ensure that sustainability is inevitable. To Madam Christine Kayongo of Uganda Ginger, this is very true. Documentation is very key. I have been handling donor fund projects for the past 7 years, and I tell you, my culture changed. The culture system of we Africans, whereby you just throw documents left, right, and center, is not the culture of the day. Because once I'm implementing this donor funded project, for example, the World Bank, they usually do every quarterly, have quarterly reporting, half-year reporting. Every day is a reporting time. We usually have the annual performance assessment, because it's a P4R, performance for result. Failure to meet these, you're not going to unlock the next money. So documentation is very key. When they come for the audit, they will ask you, is the municipal manager in place? Yes. Show us the evidence. Where is the gazettement? Where is the recruitment? How did he come in place? Where is the CV? Is he qualified? Where is the municipal manager? Did you gazette? And so once you are dealing with the donors, no joke. And my prayer is, as the African culture, that documentation should be our day-to-day running of our place. Municipal partnerships. For example, I had a municipal partner, an UN FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. When he came into place, he was asking me, show us an example or show us previous engagement with the municipal, with donors, the municipal partnership. And we were able to demonstrate the safety audit, whatever, documentation and everything. So documentation is very key, and I agree with you 101%. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Eric. As we progress, if you have any other, would like before we finish, we want to finish on time. We have about 4 or 5 minutes. That has been the presentations will be has been shared on the chat, but it also be done online so that you can access alongside other alumni talk materials. The video that is being recorded, you'll access it immediately after this, or as soon as ICLD is able to approve it. Any other quick comments or quick question? This is the time before we close. We would like to finish on time. And if you are able to come to visit Kiambu, if your organization would wish to support to come and visit Kiambu and learn what Eric has been saying, and I'm sure Eric would welcome you so that he can take you through some of the areas he has highlighted. I've been at least lucky to visit a couple of them. Any other question, comments, compliments before we finish? Okay. Some of the lessons as we finish. Some of the things that we finish, we do at ICLD, and many of you will testify. Before we do the training, we usually start with the slides, the objectives of the training. What is this that we expect you to learn? The learning objectives. And we usually highlight that by the end of this training, A, B, C, and D, the participants will have increased knowledge to A, B, C, D. They'll be able to see. If you remember those slides that ICLD usually shares, the first, I think there's the first even before introduction or immediately after, it leads to this, because we are hoping that by the end of the training that you undertook, you are able to gain skills and do something within your organization. A second thing is that we always say, if you go back to your organization and you find that you need additional help, maybe there's some clarification, some support, like what Christine talked about, documentation, please feel free to talk to ICLD or Clara or myself or any other colleague that you're familiar with, and they'll be able to support you or share some ideas on how you can navigate whatever the challenge it is. Number three, in country, either Zambia or Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, you all have groups of alumni groups. Please feel inspired to start your own activities in those countries. Visit each other, learn from each other, create virtual learning. You can create virtual learning if you want. I'm sure many of you have those links. Learn from each other. We encourage you to do that so that you can increase the number of people or alumni learning from each other. We want to learn from you as well. And finally, and I think we're almost in the last 2 minutes, so that I give Clara the last 1 minute to close. We always ensure that whatever the training materials that we share, and most of it are online. For most of you need to go back to ICLD. Perhaps you have not been to ICLD website lately. There's a lot of development. There's a lot of materials you can use for your local government, for your training. Most of the learning cases, like the SDG from Kebaha, it is uploaded, and you can read all of it. You can download it. There are so many other learning cases that you can be able to access. Please take time to lead. Take time to visit ICLD alumni. The idea of uploading those materials is for you to access them at your own time. Many of them are downloadable, so you can download them on your laptop, read them. Should you need or maybe desire to do something and you need the help from ICLD, share with us whatever you want. We'll be able to tell you what we can and what we cannot do. For that, the last minute, I want to get back to Clara for the last closing comments, and then we call it off.
Thank you very much, and a warm thank you both to Eric and to John for this informative session. And this is very, very important that we discuss this more. And now Eric he was an alumni simply, and now he has become a trainer of other alumni. And so are all of you who have listened here today. And also this will be posted on YouTube, so you can show all of your other colleagues. And each and every single person in here can become a trainer of trainers, so that we can improve everywhere to cascade knowledge and to integrate good practices into more spheres and more areas of governance. I really do believe, and ICLD really does believe, that local governments can be a protective net for the national level, for international level, for democracy in general, at the local level and at even the international level. We need the implementing parts to be leaders in this democratic transition that we are in globally. And it is not a very positive image if we look to democracy globally. So we have to be leaders, even when it is with strong winds in our face. And we really do appreciate all of your commitment to doing that, and to be humble and to learn new ways of doing that. And do this together, because we can really find support in each other and find support in ourselves. So with that, we have sent out the PowerPoints in this chat. We will also send out the recording along with the PowerPoints to an email to everyone registered for this. Only that's 100 people who will benefit from this training, and that has huge potential. So keep talking to your colleagues, keep reaching out to ICLD. My email address is clara.urstadius, as my name on the screen, at icld.se. So you can reach out to John, you all have his contacts, or to me at any time with requests or with ideas or with thoughts or reflections that you have. We are grateful to everything, and keep utilizing each other and all the knowledge that exists in this group. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank
See
you,
you in the
Clara.
next Alumni Talk.
Thank you all, and have a lovely evening wherever you are.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all.
I'm in South
Okay,
Africa.
bye.
I'm in
Hello.
Thank
Kenya.
you.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Bye.
Asante, karibuni sana.
Bye.